Hey, welcome all. We are working in Chapter 11, getting our documents ready for pre-press and printing. And we work a little bit with the CMYK color mode, as well as some other interesting things going on in this chapter. So I'm going to start out by demoing exercise 11 dash, let's see, what is this exercise? 11-1, I think. You should have your document open and then do a file and save as. I'm going to say this is a Wahoo underscore your name. I have to go back up and make my trackpad a little faster, sorry. Drives me crazy if it's not right at the very top. Okay, and as you guys know, I'm not, my trackpad isn't, double clicking on my trackpad isn't working, and so I'll be doing some workarounds in this to access what would normally be available to me on the color picker. So, but when I do these workarounds, I'll mention them. But the first step is to select the selected image and then go up under Object, and we are going to hide it. We're going to double click the Fill button or the Stroke button on the Tools panel to open the color picker, and this is where I'm going to have to change this out. They're asking for the hue, saturation, and brightness. So I'm going to see if I can find a workaround to find those three options, and I'll be back in just a moment. Because again, as you can see, I can double click to my heart's content, but unfortunately, color picker doesn't come up because my double click isn't working. I know you guys are probably getting sick of hearing me whine about this. All right, so I'll be right back. All right, I'm going to see if this works. I'm under Edit Colors on the under the Color Guide drop-down menu. It offers the hue, saturation, and brightness options, but I'm not sure if this is going to get us where we want to go. What you should do is double-click on either the fill or stroke color right here, and this will bring up a dialog box that shows you the options that you need to have available to you. The hue, saturation, and brightness, RGB, and CMYK. I'm going to have to look around on my panel options to see where I can find it. All right, so we're looking for hue, which should be set at 189. And then we are going to go to the saturation at 100. And brightness should be 100 as well, which it already is. And then we're going to click OK. All right, now if you were in the color picker, you would see an out of gamut option. See this little triangle? Just checking out the edit colors to see if that became available too, and it doesn't really show me that anyplace else. That out of gamut warning indicates that that's not a printable color. But if you click on that out of gamut warning icon, what happens is Illustrator automatically brings it to the closest process color, so that you know that that process color is one that can be printed. And this works both for RGB as well as CMYK. If you get an out of gamut warning, you can just click on that and it brings it to the closest color for that particular color mode. All right, so we are going to add a new color to the swatches panel. Add this color to the swatches panel, and we're going to call it Maverick. Okay, so if I bring this here, and I don't see it here, so I'm just going to click on this and indicate we want a new swatch. and we are going to call this Maverick. Click OK. And you'll see the Maverick. Normally you can see it if you just click and run your cursor over it, it will name it as well. Alright, now we're going to open the color panel, which is what I was in just a moment ago. We're going to click the color panel options button, which is a down facing arrow, and then we're going to make sure CMYK is selected. Then we're using the sliders on the panel. We're going to mix a process tint that is, and I have to bring up my slider here. And we're going to put in 5 cyan and hit tab. We're going to put in 70 magenta, hit tab, 100 yellow and hit tab, and then nothing for black, and then we're going to press enter or return. And you will not see the new color on the color panel if the cursor is if the cursor is still flashing in the text box in which you last entered a new value. Pressing tab advances your cursor to the next text box. So we're going to go back here. We're going to check our swatches panel. And we're going to click, drag, and drop it here to our swatches panel. Sure wish my double click worked. And we are going to call this Living. Now we're going to create a new process tint again. And this is going to be 5 cyan. This one's going to be 40 magenta, 5 yellow, and 0 black. And we're going to add this to the swatches panel. And we're going to call this Amazing. Click OK. Now we want to mix a new process tint again. And this one's going to be 30 magenta, hit tab, and 100 yellow, hit tab, press enter or return, and then we're going to add this as a new color swatch, and we're going to call this Twist. Now we're going to apply the 4 new tints that we've added to the swatches panel to the artwork as shown in figure 14. So we're going to come over here to figure 14. I'm going to pull the swatches away and put this away so we can see this a little better. Living, we're going to click on this first Living. You'll see that it has a white fill, and we want to move this out so I make sure I've got the right one. Living. Then we're going to come down here to Amazing, choose Amazing, Maverick. And choose Maverick. And Twist and Shout. And use Twist and Shout. You want to do a Command or Control S to save your work. And then we are going to go on to the next exercise. And this time we're going to work with spot colors. And I'm making the assumption that you've already read this, so we're not going through it. We're just going to get back here to the exercise. All right, now we are going to go to Window on the menu bar. Excuse me. We're going to point to Swatch Libraries. And we are going to choose Color Books. And then Pantone plus Solid Coated. And you'll see that this panel library is added, but it's added on its own little panel. These are all pre-mixed inks, which means that this Pantone 801C, if I were to order it in China or order it in San Francisco or order it in Holton, Michigan, I would get Pantone, I would get this exact same color, this 801C. Now we're going to click in the Find text box, and then we're going to type in 663. And the number 663 is selected on the Pantone solid coated panel, or it brings it up like this, which is 663. Now this is a different spot color and a different book, but the one that we're looking for is a 663. To display the number for each Pantone color, we're going to go to Pantone plus Solid Coated Panel Options button. Let's see if we can find it here. Obviously, when I created that number, it just brought up these two different options of 663, and then this is a different book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to go back to Swatch Libraries, back over to Color Books, back over to Pantone plus Solid Uncoated. Try to get that entire panel back up again. There we go. All right, we're going to double click on the Pantone. Oh, I hate these double clicks. All right, 663. I'll be back in just a moment while I figure this out rather than having you sit here and wait with me or figure it out with me. All right, I'm back. We were on number 5, which is to double click the Pantone 663 swatch on the standard swatches panel. And that's to bring up those swatch options. But again, let me whine a moment since I don't have a double click. I'm going to go over to the standard swatches panel, which they want us to be. Click on that. And then I am going to bring up the swatch options. I hope. Yes, I did. And then once you bring those swatch options up, you can change it to CMYK. And this will give you the CMYK recipe, so to speak, to create the Pantone 663 color. See, this is CMYK values represent the values you would use to create the closest possible match of Pantone 663. But see, again, the reason why you normally would use a Pantone or a premix color like this is it's because it's something that you can't quite mix. So again, these won't be identical, but they'll be close. All right, we are going to go down to number 9. We're going to change the red frame to Pantone 663C. We're going to go back to our image, and I'm going to see if I can reset these essentials so that I can get all this junk out of the way. And we want to fill the red frame to Pantone 663. So we're going to go back up to our swatches. Here's the 663. You want to make sure that the red is in the fill color and the fill box is at the foreground, and then you're going to click on 663. We're going to go up to Object, and we are going to Show All, and we are going to send the placed image to the back. We already have that selected, so we're going to go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. And at some place I must have missed that we were supposed to change this Oahu to 663 as well. So if you can hear that slurping in the background, that's my dog. Sorry about that. There you go. And our see the spot color that's applied to the artwork. We're going to do a Command or Control S to save our work and then close the Oahu document. I'm sorry about that slurping in the background. Oh my goodness, my house is a hoot. All right, see you later. I'll be back in a few minutes.